Hello there and welcome to the Gluten-Free Psychiatry Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Williams. This is episode 16, Creative Visualization versus Worshipping an Image. Interesting connection there. You're going to be surprised probably to hear that creative visualization is a very important part of mental health treatment. And visualization itself is actively involved in long-term memory. There's several things I've sort of pieced together here. Take a look at this list. Visualizations are involved with long-term emotional memory. They are used in ancient practices that are involved with healing, cross-cultural throughout millennia. They do still work today, as I'll describe later. And they're used in psychotherapy as well. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I've been trained in that one. I've also received it. It's for trauma, where you take a still image of the day and you process the image, and hopefully it settles your emotions down better. It helps a little bit for those who can't really talk or face some stuff to at least get moving a little bit if you feel stuck. And then goal setting. Basic goal setting is a visualization. You could do that with your buddy at a bar. If you're planning for the future and you can kind of picture it, that's what we're talking about. Picture the future. Picture the future. Okay, so creative visualization is a specific therapy approach where you're going to do that on purpose. Hypnosis uses it also. Energy release of different types, as well as subliminal messaging. So if visualization, if the picture of your life story is involved, then it's easy to manipulate. So let me tell you how this works. So if I ask you, where did you live when you were 6 years old? If you've moved around a lot, you would have to think about it for a minute. And you would think, okay, where was I? You would think for a few seconds, and then what happens is you get a picture in your mind, a visual picture of what that looked like maybe your front yard or something. Then suddenly the whole history comes right out of your mouth real quick. This is often subconscious, but pictures are using that long-term memory as well. So most patients that are watching entertainment and news and screen time, say 3 to 5 hours per day, they're doing a few things that are very healthy, because they're allowing executives and producers and writers and these nefarious instruments of global mind control called Hollywood to just suggest things to you. And they may not even come out and say it, but they want you to fill in the blank. They may have a joke where they suggest something, but they don't say the word. And it's going to force you to think, say the word, create a picture. So you can do subliminal messaging by flashing a word on the screen real fast. I know a long time ago, decades ago, they made you think that was the only form, so to speak. Like, we're just going to sneak a little flash in there to your mind, and it's going to be processed because they knew visualization was important. And it could be so fast that you wouldn't pick up the word on the screen. You know, an average television is about one frame, one picture on the screen, or rather 30 of them per second. And they got them faster now, like 60, depending on where you are in the world and what fancy TV you're watching. But visualization is important. If I wanted to mind control people, I would do something like insult them in their early childhood development, like cause trauma or a certain kind of fear. And then when they grow up later, you can use that as a tool against them, because it's probably an amplified emotion. We've deleted, healing and release mechanisms from our culture. So I wanted to speak to that a little bit. There's a program that Gerald Epstein developed. He was a psychiatrist. He's passed now. And he healed psychiatric conditions using creative visualization. He wrote some books about it. You should check this guy out. His wife still continues the work today in 2025. Healing visualizations, creating health through imagery. And he was a psychiatrist who traveled to Israel and studied under a therapist there who was using visualization to heal people. And he studied under her for 9 years and incorporated that into psychiatry and wrote some books. So I like that. He's a mind shifter, on whose shoulders I stand for sure, Dr. Epstein. And then the Encyclopedia of Mental Imagery. This is another book that he was involved in writing, and it has 2,100 visualization exercises and practices. And I have not read that book, but I know of his work, and it's mentioned in the Healing Field documentary, which I've been sort of sharing in the legacy. I did the basic training class in 2025. I'm going to repeat it next year in 2026. So here we are, end of October, and the Gluten-Free Psychiatry Podcast is a live interactive process. If you want to set a goal, if you want to get good at creative visualization, if there's some things you want to improve in your life, maybe set goals, maybe you want to be a millionaire, and you're into success philosophy, that sort of thing, or you've got some trauma and you want to let that go. Other ways this works is with animals, nightmares, and energy healing release. So this is important for a lot of factors. Coming up on November 6, 2025, I'll be taking the master's class with the One Light Healing Touch program. I'm really excited about that. Penny Price is a hero of mine that I've met that didn't disappoint. Not the first, but they're hard to find, aren't they? A hero that doesn't disappoint. Someone that's dedicated their life to help and healing and wears it on her sleeve, you know. She's just a great person, really good at meditation, and she's teaching me. And on the cover of her documentary, look, Gerald Epstein's right there. So if you want to learn techniques like creative visualization from the very best, and you happen to like my message, before January of 2026, look, go to onelighthealingtouch.com, sign up for Penny's program, and join the Penny's class where she and Ron Lavin, the founders of One Light Healing Touch, are actually teaching it. I'm going to be retaking the class again as part of the master's class. You retake it. So it'll be my second time through, and you can work with me directly. You would be under her class, not any program of mine right now, maybe later, right? But if you want to take the basic training class with Penny and Ron Lavin from the Healing Field documentary, I will be in that class in January of 2026, and we will be on Zoom meetings. The way it works is it's spread over a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, usually. Something like that. And then it's 1 weekend a month for 5 months. So it's quite a commitment, January through May, to get all that done. But then you graduate with your little certificate, and I'm telling you, it works on things I thought I worked. I did EMDR therapy on trauma from back when I worked in emergency medicine, and here, 15, 20 years later, I'm in her class on Zoom meetings, and there's still some of this negativity coming out of my body, like in The Green Mile, if you've seen that movie, where that black stuff comes out of their body and out of their mouth, looks like little flies or bugs or something. So there's visualization involved in this process, and creativity. And once you do some grounding and clearing, and you can get rid of the static electric discharge, I like to call it quantum drag, this electromagnetic body memories that you can get off your body yourself. It's amplifying all your emotions and making everything harder. So if you have struggled with chronic suicidal thoughts and you've got psychotherapy, but you're looking for something to add to it, you want some skills to calm yourself down for panic attacks, maybe you can't finish grocery shopping because you either get angry or scared or have a panic attack and just have to leave. And I've been with patients that have that kind of problem, and you get stuck in the problem, and you're thinking about the future more or less all wrong. You're thinking about an anxious feeling now, and the panic attack starts when you start projecting forward into the future that you're going to feel just like this in the future. That's the opposite of creative visualization, isn't it? You're not thinking about a future that you want. You're panicking over a future that's not here yet that you don't want. It's quite the opposite. And it is also a training. It is training in Hollywood and cartoons and the music of Woody Woodpecker, and just all of it just plays with your emotion. And when you put in the suicidal images in Disney Pixar Despicable Me, people laugh and think, oh, that's not a big deal. But it normalizes it for children, so they grow up thinking suicide is a way out. It's hard to talk people out of their childhood experiences. Very hard. So programming religions that program their young children with hate aren't going to do real well. They can have all the psychotherapy in the world, but their body tells them it's normal to hate. I should fight, even if they're in peace, because the subconscious body memory experienced that so long with the lost skills of release, then it's going to follow them forever. And you want to get away from your parents. You don't want to become like your parent or your abusive stepdad, in my case. You don't want to be like that. But if you don't do the energy clearing, those very emotions are amplified, and you'll wind up acting or doing some of the things pretty similar. It's called identification with the aggressor in psychology and psychiatry. But in the ancient practices, I would call it just a residue, a residue on the body that all the practices used to know about. So it didn't matter the religion or the background. And emotion code proves that. They just use magnets and swipe it down the spine. And Penny Price Lavin, she says you don't even need the gizmos. And I have done emotion code without the magnets. So if you can get healing and get a flow from God and from spirit to heal you, and you can tap into that, I really think the problem in America and the West is that we're just not spending the time doing it. You may be great on your Bible, but are they talking about the Great Comforter every weekend? Probably not. Are they spending enough time getting excited and moving the energy and focus on the meditation of casting your cares, this residue off the body onto the spirit? So there's a lot of modifications. I come from a Southern Baptist tradition, but I'm really missing the full gospel Pentecostal style church I had before I joined the Army a long time ago, because they would dance in the aisles and roll on the floor, speak in tongues and things that I wasn't really sure about back then. And now that I understand it better, I think we could do a healing seminar, but instead of people getting healed by one televangelist up front and everybody's in line, everybody would be in their seats, learning to heal the person sitting to the left and to the right. And then when it's over, they would leave out of the building with everybody having confidence and experience to hear the whole message. So creative visualization is an important piece. And as you can see, we're building some building blocks for a future community that may shed some light on how we and you can get involved with spreading global mental health support. This has been the Gluten-Free Psychiatry Podcast. Stay tuned for more details.